All right. Well, yeah. So that was our recap of the week 0 action. But Roger, let's preview and make our predictions on how we think this college football season is going to go, who we think is going to make this 12-team playoff, the newly renovated version of the 12-team playoff, where you're not getting those automatic buys if you
That's the
just
best
win
thing
your
ever.
conference.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Thank goodness that's not going to.
But so I figured let's just go through it, maybe 12-1, and do our reveals, and then we'll kind of go through our bracket and say who we have beating who. Do you want to start, or do you want me to?
I ain't scared.
All right, go
So
for it.
basically,
Who's your 12 seed?
All right, my 12 seed is Boise State. I think they're the group of 5 team that gets into the playoffs. I don't think there's going to be 2 teams that get in. There could possibly be, but I think Boise State's the class of the group of 5 or whatever, the 6, whatever they're called now. But that group, I think it's going to be Boise State. I got them at 12. I could possibly see them as I did my bracket and I started looking at it as it went through. I ended up having like SEC playing SEC. I mean, it's kind of so, and I think the committee kind of looks at that too, kind of like future matchups, like where things are going when they kind of do that ranking of after the first 4 or 5 or whatever. So, obviously the five's the best spot to be in. In my opinion, 5's a pretty good spot. But so I have Boise State.
Right. Then no worries. Now Ashton Genty's gone. He drug him to the playoffs last year. You don't think they're going to miss him?
Yeah, they're going to miss him. Absolutely. But they got guys. They'll fill it in. I mean, I'm not drinking the UNLV juice after yesterday for sure. I mean, I've seen a lot of people pick UNLV, but if I didn't pick Boise, I'd pick Tulane.
Okay.
So Tulane's probably on the outside looking in. So at the end of that, if we play this back at the end of the season, just know that I did say Tulane.
All right.
Pick them, but I said
fair enough. Well, look, for my number 12, I think they're going to win the conference that Tulane resides in, but I'm not picking Tulane.
Memphis.
I'm picking Navy.
What?
Navy. They won 10 games last year, beat Oklahoma in their bowl game. They got blown out by Notre Dame. We were talking about them making the playoff last year there for a little bit. I think they started 6-0.
Yeah.
They're bringing their quarterback back, who had like 17 rushing touchdowns, I think 30 total. They didn't lose any of their coordinators, where Navy had, their best offensive and defensive season in a long time. Both coordinators are still there. They got some star running backs. You're still keeping a lot of offensive line talent. And I feel like right now, I mean, look what Vanderbilt was able to do. I know they only went 6-6, but they gave people fits. They almost even beat Texas, or at least took them down to the wire. I feel like these heavy option style attacks, I don't know. I feel like just nowadays, maybe defenses just aren't that ready for them. And if you can run it efficiently enough, the system might be enough to get you there.
Well, that also gives Army's kind of in that same boat too, right? I mean, they're the same. They had a great season last year, kind of hard to prepare for, tough kids, obviously. The future of our country's on these guys, or whatever. Our future leaders do a great job. So, I mean, and then Memphis is another team that nobody's talking. They tried to buy their way into the Big 12, and they just said no. I mean, which is, can you say no Big 12? I don't know. So Memphis could be a team also that could.
I just feel like Memphis. I feel like Memphis is a team that we always say is supposed to be good, but they never are.
They kind of fall short.
Yeah, even if the expectations aren't that high, like, hey, maybe they'll win 8 games, they win 6. Yeah. I don't know. I just couldn't pick Memphis. I thought about them though. I thought about Tulane, and I also ran Boise State through my mind as well. But I figured I'd show Navy.
So, there we go. All right, that's your group of 5, huh?
That's my group of 5, Navy. Yeah. All right. I'll go ahead and reveal my 11, and then we'll bounce it back to you. Yeah. So you're gonna get a kick out of this one, Roger. At 11, I've got LSU, led by Brian Kelly. I got LSU making the 12-team playoff. Look, when the Senior Bowl 300, they put out their list where they basically just show love to the top 300 players in all of college football. The team that had the most players on there was LSU with 14 players. The year before that, it was Ohio State. They obviously went to go win the national championship. The year before that, it was Michigan. They went on to win the national championship. I don't think Brian Kelly's going to win the national championship, but I do think that even despite Brian Kelly's best efforts, I think the roster is so good that they are going to go 9-3, have a good enough win to sneak there into that 11 seed of the playoff. And I just think Nussmeier and all the receiving options that he has, I think he said they all run a 4.4 or faster. So it's just an incredibly quick receiving core. I think maybe you got Landry playing on defense in the right spot. They were trying to move him to coverage from being just like a pure pass rusher. And you got Whit Weeks. I love Whit Weeks. I liked him a lot in that Netflix documentary as well. So I like LSU. I'm going to go with LSU. And I also think if LSU doesn't make the playoff, fire Brian Kelly. Like I think that's where it's at. Like, you can't meet this requirement. Get another guy in there because this roster, you're hurting the roster. You should have made the playoffs with Jaden Daniels, but you picked all the wrong defensive portal guys. You probably should have made the playoffs last year, but you choked to Florida.
Well, think about that. Think they had Jalen Daniels. I mean, he won the Heisman Trophy. You're right. I mean, I'm not a big Brian Kelly fan, and I just think when I see him and I saw him on that Netflix documentary, I was like, dude, it just doesn't feel like those guys are. Nussmeier's kind of bought into him, or Nussmeier plays the game well.
That might just be the agent telling him.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of funny how that kind of worked out. But yeah, when you see Brian Kelly in that thing, I was like, the player. It's just a weird. I think if you gave the player some truth serum on the side, they'd probably tell you, man, they probably think he's an idiot. I get a weird vibe about him, and I don't think that's the kind of guy that can take you to look. He never did it at Notre Dame, had a bunch of talent, right? That's why he left. He left because now I'm going to get a bunch of talent, and he's had tons of talent. Now you got 15 guys on the watch list at the 300 of the Senior Bowl, and you can't get there. We'll find out. But look, and we'll know. Look, this time next week, we'll know. They're playing Clemson.
That's right.
We'll know a lot about our picks.
That's not a must-win game, but it's a must. You better look good game. Like you better have given Clemson a good game.
It's not a must-win, but you better win. Yeah. I mean, who cares about looking good?
It up. We only want to win one game. We only want to win one game, the first game. If you lose that game, then what are you telling?
Well, that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying because I think too. I don't know if the team was bought into him and they liked him. If they were to lose that game, like they could overcome it, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a non-conference game. It doesn't matter. It's a good team. I mean, I don't know how your predictions would come out, but I've got Clemson pretty high towards the end. So it would be a good loss, right? I mean, at the end of the day, close or not close, still a good loss if they could hang on and get better. But I don't know if they don't lose the team, if they lose that game. It'd be interesting to see what happens.
Last year, Clemson, they got blown out by Georgia, right? And then Clemson still made the playoff. They were able to come back from that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. That's a prime example. That's right.
All right, Roger, who do you have as your 11 seed?
11 seed. I was drinking the juice of the Netflix, and I cannot help it. I've went to a Kenny Chesney concert with this guy. So I'm Beamer. I'm liking South Carolina. I think they got one of the best quarterbacks in the nation who, when he played, he was hurt South Carolina a little bit. South Carolina was so close to winning, but you talk about a coach that has effect on his team and has a culture and that guys believe in him. It's pretty obvious that team believes in Shane Beamer, and those guys are playing to that level and they're getting better. And I think they learned a lot, and I think they believe in Lenore Sellers, and Lenore Sellers believes in Shane Beamer because he had opportunities he could have went anywhere for a lot of money, but he stayed there. That says a lot. And I just like how their team is. Former teammate of mine's the offensive coordinator there, Mike Shula. So little biased to a degree. But I like South Carolina. I like close to making it last year after they, lost a couple games early that they could have won. So I like South Carolina in that 11 spot.
Yeah. I like South Carolina too. They did not make my playoff. I was at a coin flip between them and another SEC team that I'm going to reveal here soon as my 10 seed. But why don't you go ahead and reveal your 10 seed before I get to that?
So it's a reach, and I was thinking, I was driving, and I'm just telling you, Haynes King.
I like it.
Tough mentality. Brent Key, who, name drop, whatever, is a friend of mine. I love Brent Key. I've known him since he was in high school at Hewitt-Trussell, and he played at Georgia Tech. Right. I loved him when he was the coach at Alabama, coaching the offensive line. He's just nothing pretentious. He just, hey, let's go win. Let's go be tough. And they're finally buying into how he is. The team is starting to reflect how he played. They play till the end. They fight till the end. You saw that in some of those games. So I'm really liking Georgia Tech. I don't think they're good enough to beat. I think they're having a hard time beating Miami and Clemson in the ACC, but I think they can definitely make some noise. They could possibly upset one or two of them, but I think they make the playoffs.
Yeah, I really like that pick. I couldn't quite get there. I sometimes will call Georgia Tech my side team. I do like Georgia Tech and everything that they're doing over there. Last year was so fun with the multiple overtimes there against Georgia at the end. I think that earned a lot of respect for Brent Key and Haynes King for sure. Well, my number 10, not South Carolina. I'm going with Oklahoma. I'm rocking with Jim Nagy and the gang over there in Norman. You got John Mateer coming over there from Washington State. You've got Jaden Ott, I think is his name, and he's coming from
the run
back. Yeah, one of the best running backs you could have got out of the portal. And look, last year, were they down to their 8th string wide receiver, whoever that is? They're probably their 3rd string tight end, running back, whoever they're trying to play in that moment. Jackson Arnold, I didn't think was that good. I don't know how good he really is for Auburn fans. Hopefully he's really good.
I don't think
the defense was always solid though. Brent Venables, he had Oklahoma playing really solid defense. And now if we're going to completely revamp and reset the offense and you're bringing in some of the best offensive players that you could have brought in, I think Auburn should have brought in Mateer over Arnold personally. I thought Mateer was the quarterback to get if you were looking to just get a brand new quarterback. I don't know. And I'm kind of a lot like my feelings with LSU. You have to win this year. You have to show me the success this year or else it's going to be bad. So, and I feel that way with Brent Venables. If you're not flirting with at least bare minimum 8 wins, they're going to get another coach in there. John Gruden's knocking at the door saying he wants to come to the SEC. Every athletic director in the SEC would fire their coach immediately if they could get Gruden in the door.
And I think a note was probably slipped under Hugh Freeze's door.
Yeah, right.
Just saying. I mean, so I'll go ahead and say that Auburn is not going to be in my top 12. Okay. I will say that. So we'll eventually, maybe we'll talk about Auburn a little later. I know we're talking about our playoff teams, but that may come up. But I like Oklahoma for all those same reasons, man. I like Venables. I've always liked Venables. Jim Nagy, I really like. And I like how they're approaching what they're trying to do. I think they're going to be better. I almost think they have to be better because, like I said, they lost all their offensive guys. Arnold wasn't the quarterback. And so I think I can definitely see them making the playoffs. I like them. They're right on the outside too of mine. But
like I said, it was a coin toss for me between them and South Carolina because I love Lenore Sellers. I love Beamer. But I don't know. I just Oklahoma.
Well, I think that Oklahoma has to overcome a lot more. Like to get to where they need to go, they got to overcome a lot of stuff that happened last year. Whereas South Carolina is right on the edge of. I think they're a little further along than what Oklahoma is, even though Oklahoma can get there. And obviously, if the quarterback play and the offensive coordinator is dialed in, I think it could be pretty good. So
I just feel like
they're right on the outside.
Last year, I felt like everyone was surprised by South Carolina. Wow, look at Lenore Sellers. Wow, Shane Beamer. You're not surprising anyone this year. So now that they're expecting you, how will you perform? And they might prove me.
And the thing I like about them too is South Carolina had to rally at the end of the season last year. I don't know how many they won in a row, but they had to kind of rally to get there because they stumbled against LSU and who else they stumbled against early. I can't remember, but somebody else early. It was a close game and they lost. So
was it Kentucky, like a random team?
It might have been. No, that was Ole Miss that lost to Kentucky.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. By the way, so all right. So we're down to what are we down to 9?
Yeah, let's hear your 9 seed.
My 9th seed, Miami.
Okay.
I mean, eventually they gotta make it, right? I mean, eventually they've done all this stuff. Mario Cristobal's been in they got the quarterback, it's going to be interesting. I wasn't really impressed. I mean, I don't know. Miami is intriguing and they could either be, but I got them making the playoffs. I got them playing in the ACC championship with Clemson.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of giving stuff away, but but I like Miami in this thing. It could go south and it could be North Carolina. Who knows?
Well, I'll go ahead and jump 1 seeding because I had Miami as my 8 seed, not my 9 seed. I think Miami. What was their issues last year? Their defense.
Right.
The defense should be better this year because they didn't really lose any talent from their defense. So you would think maybe they're going to be a little bit better. They lost a lot of talent on offense, but I guess you're hoping it's a reload, not a rebuild on that side of the ball. Evident of bringing in Carson Beck for, I've heard people say they paid him $8 million to $2 million. I don't know what they paid to get Carson Beck out there, but he is out there. Their athletic director thinks they're going to have back-to-back number 1 overall picks, going from Cam Ward to Carson Beck.
Oh,
so we'll see if he can live up to that hype. I mean, there was a point in time where we were talking about Carson Beck being the first overall pick, and that all
that's
last year.
And he's also coming off an injury. I guess everybody just kind of forgets that, right? He's still coming off an injury.
Well, that's why he didn't go to the NFL, is because I think he was being rumored to be drafted in the 5th round because of that injury he had.
Yeah, and he's getting more money.
Right.
I'm just saying he wouldn't be getting paid this what he's getting paid. He's not getting paid in the NFL. So
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But I had Miami as my 8 seed. Also, I have them losing in that ACC championship game. But as my 9 seed, I'll jump back to 9 really quick. I have Texas Tech, and I have Texas Tech as the winners of the Big 12, making the playoff as my 9 seed. Look, they had the number 1 transfer portal recruiting class. They've got a $40 million roster. It's one of the 5 most expensive rosters in all of college football, right up there.
And third in the NFL.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. Right up there with the Texas Longhorns. But they bring in their defensive line is going to be insane, and their offensive line is going to be insane. And Roger, you know this. Where do you win football games? In the trenches, right?
That's right.
And I feel like that's normally not what you go for in the portal. I feel like when you think portal, you're going to get your DBs, your receivers, and your running backs.
But if you want to win championships, you better be. If anything showed you with Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State, Michigan, you better be strong on the offense and defense. Yep. You better win the trenches. And obviously, they've addressed that issue.
They've invested into it for sure.
Yeah. They've invested because they know that's important. Yeah. But I mean, they're the team too. Is like I said, we talked about Clemson and Texas Tech, kind of the 2 different models of kind of how to do it, and polar opposites almost. And I'm not really pulling for them to do it because for that reason. I hear you. I mean, I'm a kind of old school a little bit, and I just think it's just. You still got to build your culture with up. You got to have, there's a combination somewhere. I don't know what that combination is. I don't have a solution to that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not going to be, I'm not a Red super fan. I'm not going to be wearing a cowboy hat.
Yeah,
but hey, I do think last year they went 8-5, right? So it's not like they're building it up from, hey, we were 0-12. Let's try to make a super team by just throwing money into it.
No,
they were 8-5. Then you make this awesome portal class. So I have to assume that's at least good for 1 or 2 more wins, and that would probably get you into the Big 12.
Well, and that's like saying the Big 12 championship. Literally, we could be sitting here at the end of this thing, and Kansas wins it. I mean, Houston may win it. Who knows? I mean, the Big 12. Who knows? I mean, it is. That's what I like about it. Plus, at the end of the day, I still like Kansas State. I mean,
it was just a really sloppy, ugly, bad roll of the dice. It felt like.
Yeah.
Well, all right, let's see. So that was my 9, and I revealed my 8 because you said Miami. So who is your 8?
Well, my Big 12 winner.
Okay.
BYU.
All right.
And now that I say that, I just realized their quarterback's gone.
Yeah, they're fresh. They got the starting, I think their first ever freshman quarterback to start, Bariach. He's got an odd name. And you know what his jersey number is? Starting quarterback.
22.
47.
I love that. That's more reason I love why I picked BYU now.
Okay.
The guy's named Bear. He wears 47. What solidifies my pick. So.
Right.
But I think BYU is going to end up winning that thing. That's just I think BYU. I got them winning the Big 12.
See, I'm fading BYU this year. I don't know. I'm just not. I don't like getting rid of your quarterback because he had sex. That's just a weird vibe to me. I don't like that.
That's terrible. I can't believe he had. That's awful. Young 20-year-old guy. I thought Mormon soaked. I don't know, but
yeah. I'm gonna just a new insult you can start throwing at someone is, hey, you look like you're getting your doctorates at BYU. Like you just cannot have sex.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, what's next? Number 7, your 7th seed.
My 7th seed goes to the University of Texas.
All right.
The Arch Manning dynasty starts this year, but they've got to replace a whole offensive line. Now, I know they got a lot of good recruits. Texas is that one team that I've got them in this just because the hype is so big for them, and I'm kind of buying it a little bit. But then when I'm going against my gut instinct of when you got to replace 4 out of 5 offensive line starters from that team, it's not a good thing. And they lost some receivers in the draft. I mean,
and they're starting running back.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I'm going against all my things, putting them in it. But I like Arch Manning. I like Sarkisian. I think they'll figure it out offensively as long as that defense stays solid. But I don't think they're going to be the number 1 team in the country. I don't think they're going to win the SEC. I don't think they're going to play in the SEC championship, but I think they'll have a good enough team to make the playoffs.
I get you. See, I feel like, Texas and Sarkisian, they're always one of the top 5 teams, it feels like, or at least over the past few years. Georgia and Kirby Smart feels like they're always one of the top 5 teams. But I feel like those 2 teams this year, the rosters are all questionable. We're all kind of just putting all our stock into Kirby Smart is going to have a 10-win team. Steve Sarkisian is going to have a 10-win team because they're just that great, of coaches, and they've set their kind of standard at their program to where their floor is pretty high, no matter what.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
For my number 7, kind of in that same vibe, I kind of feel this way for this team. I'm not that crazy about their roster. They got a new quarterback, but I like Dan Lanning and everything that he's able to do. I have Oregon as my 7 seed, taking a bit of a step back from Dillon Gabriel and Bo Nix, and you losing all this talent to the NFL. Your defenses are always, feels like they're always giving up 30 points, but last year, you lost 1 football game, and that 1 football game that you lost was to the national champions. I think Oregon's going to be fine. I think it's just reload over rebuild, and I think Oregon will be making the playoff.
Yeah. So I guess my number 6 team, right, is Oregon. So
okay.
I'm right there. Yeah. So Oregon was my 6th. Same reason that you said. I think they're going to be. I think they just kind of reload. Obviously, they got to replace their quarterback, and the kid they got playing quarterback is really. They got the transfer from like UCLA that's supposed to be was one of the top quarterbacks, and so
I can't remember
he's
exactly.
Special. I can't think off the top of my head, and I apologize, but
I saw they just named him as the starter.
Yeah, I think he's a kid from UCLA, and he's like one of the top recruits, 5-star recruits.
Dante Moore.
Yeah, Dante Moore. Yeah. And he's a good quarterback, and he got to sit behind Dillon Gabriel for a year.
That's right.
Because he had that experience at UCLA, and that was with Chip Kelly was kind of a crap show, and then he goes to Oregon. He kind of could observe Dillon Gabriel and so I think he's going to be really good. And I like Oregon. So like I said, I got them 6th.
All right. So for my 6th seed, I have the reigning national champions, the Ohio State Buckeyes. I think they're going to be really good. I think they're going to lose in the Big Ten championship. That'll put them there as the 6th seed. Look, I think they're great, but freshman quarterback Julian Sayin, I love the entire roster, but I just think we're going to dip back just a hair with the freshman quarterback, but I still think Ohio State is going to be really solid.
No, I agree that Ohio State's going to be a solid team, and I'll be telling you where they end up. I got them on my list. Okay. I haven't mentioned them yet. So let's go number 5, right? So you do number 5 and I'll do number 5.
All right. At number 5, I have the Alabama Crimson Tide. After they lose in the SEC championship, I actually don't have them losing in the SEC championship. I have them just on the outside of making the SEC championship. They're the 5 seed. They're going to have a great season. I'm really high on Ty Simpson. I'm really high on Ryan Grubb. I'm really, really high on Alabama's defense this year and their secondary. I thought that they got better as the year progressed last year. I think just all the Jalen Milroe stuff, and we've talked about that. Everyone has ad nauseum. So I'm not going to get back into all the Milroe things and why Ty Simpson didn't start. That's in the past, but now Ty Simpson is the starter. I like the receivers that they brought in. I love Ryan Williams. I think Alabama's going to be really good this year, but I just don't have them quite getting that bye.
Okay, I understand. So my 5th place team is the Georgia Bulldogs. I think they make it to the SEC championship, but I think they lose to the Alabama Crimson Tide.
All right.
So I got the Tide winning the SEC for a lot of reasons, and I'll talk about. I should probably just say where Alabama's ranked because I'm jumping ahead, but I got them.
Go for it.
I got them at number 3. I got Alabama at number 3. And I think for the same reason, I think that Ty Simpson at quarterback I think it's going to be better. I think the offense will run a little bit better. It'll be more consistent, right? It won't be as inconsistent. Like one game we get this, the next game, I think having Ryan Grubb there, I think that's going to help Kalen DeBoer. I think Kalen DeBoer in his second year I think he kind of felt his way around a little bit yesterday. Maybe it was last year, but maybe he's a little cautious. Maybe didn't do some things that he probably really wanted to do because he's coming to this program. And so I think that he's going to be better off. You know, I saw a video of their strength coach talking about these dudes. And if you look at Alabama, just go watch a film or YouTube, anything you want to on Alabama, and look at that roster. Look how physical they are. I mean, they're big. And they've got a couple scrimmages where everybody goes, well, I don't know if the offensive line is that good this year. I go, well, they're playing against Alabama. And I think Kane Womack did a good job with Alabama. I think people kind of forget. They kind of, because it's a different defense than what Saban ran, and it's a little bit of gamble, blitz a little bit more to kind of leave some people on. So people are nervous about it, but it was still a pretty good defense. It was a great defense, and it got better. The defensive backs our defensive backs are the best in the country. Got a great Deontay Lawson from William, Alabama is outstanding. And the defensive line has to be a little bit better in creating a little bit of a pass rush, a little bit of pressure. And I think they'll be better too. So, I mean, I really like Alabama. I like Alabama. The thing that bothered me last year with Ty Simpson's development is there were opportunities to get him in games where they didn't get him into games soon enough to work with maybe the first team offensive line and stuff. And that's the only real question mark I have about DeBoer last year was not getting Ty Simpson. Like the Wisconsin game, for instance, is a prime example. We were pretty much after about 5-6 minutes into the third quarter, before even jump around started, Alabama had, let's put Ty Simpson in there, let him run with the first team offensive line a couple of series, and then, bring in the second team line with Simpson, and then you can do whatever you want to do. But I think they kept Milroe in there too long. But that was probably DeBoer saying, he's like, hey, we got to his thinking is, okay, we got to keep Milroe in there because he's got to learn the offense, he's got to see more. And maybe that was for his development. Yeah. Right. Because he's good, so. Now, so it's going to be interesting, but I do really like Alabama. I like Alabama winning the SEC, going to the SEC championship and win the SEC championship against Georgia. But Georgia will end up at number 5 and Alabama end up at number 3.
Okay. All right. So let's see. So my number 4, I have Texas as the number 4 team because I have them losing to Georgia, who I have at number 2 in the SEC championship game. We're going to get a rematch there in the SEC championship. Georgia and Kirby Smart are going to beat Sarkisian and company again. So that's how I have the SEC championship going. And then I'll just go ahead and finish out my top 4, and we'll kind of get through how we see it progressing. In number 3, I have Penn State. I got Penn State winning the Big Ten. Drew Aller's back. Their running back is back. You lose Tyler Warren. You lose the star defensive end in Abdul Carter. And you're really good safety too. But I think Penn State's going to be really solid. I think that everything is maybe setting up for Penn State to actually have a pretty, I mean, they had a really solid year last year, but maybe they can go even just a bit further. And then as my number 1 seed, I have the ACC champions, the Clemson Tigers. That is the team that I am the most sure about. I think their schedule is not the most difficult schedule in the world, but there are some tough games in there. But I think Clemson, their D-line and their quarterback, I just think that Clemson is going to be too tough to beat.
Go down your 4-3-2-1 again.
As my 4 seed, I have Texas. Right. As my 3 seed, I have Penn State. As my 2, I have Georgia. And as my 1, I have Clemson.
Okay. All right. So my 2 is Penn State.
All right.
And then I have Penn State is 2. I think Penn State beats Ohio State in the Big Ten championship.
All right. We're thinking the same there.
And then I've got Clemson as my number 1 seed.
So. All right. There we go. All right. Well, we filled out our brackets. We've kind of picked who we think will win and who's going to get there. So I'll just kind of go through quickly my matchup. So out of Miami and Texas Tech, my 8 and 9, I've got Miami beating Texas Tech. I think, the well-funded roster, I think it comes to an end there. And I think Carson Beck gets him a playoff win. Then in my 5-12, I have Alabama versus Navy. I have the Alabama Crimson Tide defeating Navy. I think that they should be able to
Navy.
take care of business.
So who does Navy beat in the first round?
That's their first. The first round matchup is Navy.
5-2. Oh, that's right. You got Alabama.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I didn't have them in the top 4.
Yeah, that's right.
And then over there at my 7-10, I've got Oregon taking on Oklahoma. I have Oklahoma defeating the Oregon Ducks. I think Mateer and the veteran leadership at quarterback, and he'll be plenty comfortable with the Oklahoma offense by the time this game rolls around. I got them beating Oregon. And then in my 6-11, Ohio State versus LSU, Brian Kelly, you made the playoffs. You got you one more year, but you're not advancing. Ohio State's going to beat LSU in that 6-11. So those are my first round matchups and who I have winning.
All right. So my first round matchup, I got Texas taking on Georgia Tech. Texas wins that game. Then my 6-11, Oregon, South Carolina. I got South Carolina in an upset beating Oregon. Okay. I just think the SEC is a little tougher.
Yeah, so we both have our SEC team upsetting Oregon.
Yeah.
All right, I like that.
Go figure. I wonder where we live.
Yeah, that's right.
Then we got BYU is an 8 seed taking on number 9, Miami. I got Miami winning that game, taking on Clemson. And then, of course, Georgia, Boise State. I got Georgia winning that game. And then they'll move on to play Ohio State.
All right, so then my next series of matchups. So now I've got Clemson taking on Miami, my 1 versus 8. I've got Clemson winning that and advancing to that.
So who do you got your 1 versus 8 is?
Clemson versus Miami, and I got Clemson winning.
So I got Clemson in Miami, and I got Clemson winning.
All right, so we're the same there. We're the same there on that side. So under that, I have my 4-5. I've got Texas versus Alabama. And I've got Alabama beating Texas, feeling good after that Navy win. Texas, maybe they're a little rusty coming off the L in the SEC championship and then still having the bye week. I like Alabama to actually defeat Texas there in that 4-5. What do you have there?
I've got Georgia taking on Ohio State, and I've got Ohio State advancing, beating Georgia in that. I think that saying by the time the end of the season rolls around, he'll have gotten better. And I just think Ohio State will beat Georgia.
All right.
So I got Ohio State taking on Clemson.
All right.
We'll
there we go.
Later. Yeah.
Now on the other side, let's see. I'm trying to read my handwriting here. I got Georgia taking on Oklahoma, and I have Oklahoma upsetting Georgia. Oklahoma, they're going to get hot. John Mateer, I think he's going to look great. Hopefully everyone is still healthy by then, right? But I have Oklahoma actually upsetting Georgia as a 10 seed, upsetting the 2 seed.
Wow. So I have Texas and Penn State, with Penn State winning that ball game. So Penn State will win that ball game. And then when you go down to the 3 whatever, I got South Carolina and Alabama, with Alabama winning that. So my semifinal games would be Penn State versus Alabama, Clemson versus Ohio State. So,
nice.
Yeah, that pretty much.
And then for my 3-6, I have the rematch of the Big Ten championship. Penn State, the 3 seed, taking on Ohio State, the 6 seed. And then to come up with my champion, I've got Clemson, Bama in my semifinal. And then I've got Oklahoma, Penn State in my semifinal. I've got Clemson beating your Alabama Crimson Tide. I've got Penn State defeating Mateer and Oklahoma. The Cinderella run comes to an end, and we're going to have the 1 seed Clemson versus the 3 seed Penn State in the national championship.
Well, I've got Alabama playing in the national championship against Clemson, a classic throwback to the Ot teens, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Is it Ot teens? I don't know. 5 or 6 years ago.
Right.
So, and of course, if you can see behind me, I'm a little biased. I'm going, even though I do love Clemson and I love Dabo, I'm going to go with the Alabama Crimson Tide returning to glory and hoisting the trophy as national champions.
All right. And I have your boy Dabo adding another national championship to the collection. They defeat Penn State. and the Clemson Tigers get themselves another national championship.
All right. I may preface this that if Clemson ends up in the national championship against anybody but Alabama, I got the Clemson Tigers and Dabo hoisting the trophy, and we all win and we're all happy. So,
all right. Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Well, Roger, that's it. We've recapped week 0. We've given our official predictions. Next time we hop on the weekend rewind.
Oh, there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of games to talk about. We'll see if Alabama gets their win. We'll see what Dabo and Brian Kelly.
A lot of great games, and not only that. So what's interesting is, we got a game Sunday and a game Monday. So do we do a recap before we do the or do we do the recap after the?
I don't know. We'll have to.
That's a good thing about podcasting, right? We can do it Monday, but we don't want to miss it. We'll figure it out. May have to do 2. We can recap Sunday and Monday, and then do like a little prediction show.
All right, there we go. I like it.
Look, he's got, podcasting. We can do it, right? We can cuss, so it's great.
That's right. Let me hear a cuss word, Roger. Give me one.
No, I can't do it. I've been in radio so long; it's hard for me to.
I know. I don't want to get in the habit, right? And then I hop on air.
I have a hard time, but I will. I may drop one every once in a while.
There we go.
I don't have to feel bad about it. Did I say that?
Well, look, hey guys, be sure to subscribe, like, follow the podcast, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. And whenever Roger does inevitably let that F-bomb slip, you'll want to be the first person to hear it. But
I'll put a nickel in the jar.
There you go. Roger, man, thanks so much for hopping on. I'm really excited for this season and what we're going to be able to do here on Weekend Rewind. And next week, we'll cover all the college football games again.
That's right. We got it. See you, Nick.
All right. See you later, man.